All right. Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is 8:50 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, February 4th, 2021. Really, I do know what day it is. So earlier this week, we talked about coming into the week. So we had that, you know, up at all-time highs last Tuesday, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday was down, right? Monday, we talked about really are we going to stay above this node that's basically just under 3,700, right? It's centered basically around 3,680 is where it is, right? So staying above there, right, takes off the table, dropping, all the way down basically to 3,400. That's the support that's really holding the market up at this point in time. You can see clearly the market responded off of that, come back up. So now we have two little sections inside of it, right? We have a little section that basically runs from, we'll call it 3680 up to 3785, right? We've got that one. And then we've got another little high volume node, right, or area that the market's deciding whether it wanted to stay above or below on Tuesday and Wednesday. So as the market decided that it wanted to stay above that node, and that node really runs up to 3805 basically. So you can see a little bit of dip on Tuesday into it, none really at all on Wednesday during the bell session. So as we look at that, we're consolidating. So when you look at these daily candles, right, and this is just bell to bell trading, it doesn't really show you the full picture. And if we turn on the extended, and the reason I turn off the extended is because, only about 15% of the volume trades in the extended session. So it's really not that important in the grand scheme of things. You can get entries in there that are quite excellent, to be honest with you. And then, but as far as looking at what the market's auctioning, right, it's not that big of a deal to the auction, right? If you're picking trade location to enter, it can be helpful. So basically, we've centered right around yesterday's volume as well, or yesterday's range is where the overnight session went. So looking at basically the indexes, right? So as we fell off last Wednesday afternoon, kind of tested some of those levels we talked about underneath, come back up, right? We're just sitting here chugging water above 38.22 at this point in time. So I want to zoom into from Tuesday on and really focus on this area. Right? If we look at from 34 basically down to 28, you can see as far as time, right, these are 30-minute bars. So for time going on, it has nothing to do with volume. This is just time, right? We have spent a lot of time since Tuesday, basically at 11 a.m. Eastern time, 11:30 a.m. right in there, right? We spent a lot of time going across in that 6 points, right? We've been a little bit below it from time to time, right? We've been a little bit above it, but the auction has centered around, and most of the time has been spent between 38.28 and 38.34 is where most of the time and energy has been spent. So the question really remains for today, and if we extend this out, right, we can see that even in the overnight coming out, right, we've been flirting with this area, right? So the overnight session starts last night. We fail to break out above that box, come back below it, get in it, reject from it, right? Come back down into this 38.11, 38.10 area, which is another area of support. Come back up and really start flirting with, above or below the 38.22. And long and behold, we get sucked right back into this area that's been tested. So if you can't go lower, you know, Normally in the stock market, if you're failing to go one way or the other, you do go the opposite way. So we've been uh, betting up, no luck, coming back down. Betting up, no luck, coming back down. But notice the pullbacks haven't been really anything. So this is really the area I'm watching for, right? We'll get some tests above this level today. We'll probably get some tests below it, possibly. We'll see after the bell rings. But that's the area that I'm really going to focus on, and not to say that I'm going to short when it goes below 28. I'm going to get long when it goes above 34. But I'm just watching that as a read. There's a lot of trading volume that's stuck in that area of the chart. So I want to see when the market breaks out of there, it should get a little bit of a move, right? We haven't got much of a move to the downside so far yet. So looking at all the indexes, we didn't actually have split distributions or double or single prints. I'm sorry, in the Nasdaq and in the Dow, where I've got these peachy boxes shaded, but they were double prints basically, and there was a clear distribution above and below those lines. So you can see in the overnight session, right, the Nasdaq, who's been the weaker market for the week, has been staying below that level, right? The Dow flirted back and forth with it, right, kind of washed through it, but it's still above it. So last night after the bell, if you look, this is the bell high. This 30,686 was the bell high. After the bell rang, and I'm not sure which. There's several companies that reported, but the Dow ended up getting bid all the way up to basically 30,720, right around that area. And so those are trades that went off above the bell high after the close, right? That's usually a sign of, getting a little bit carried away, too far ahead of yourself. So that's going to be the line in the sand for the Dow today, or an area in the sand, I should say, is do we get above that 30,720 with any conviction, or do we stay basically below the bell high of 30,686? So I'm going to be watching that. I'll be watching. You can see that the Dow has washed through this, so I wouldn't pay too much of attention to it necessarily. You can be, once the bell rings, you can be aware of it, but I wouldn't really trade against this level unless you see clear rejection at the edges of this box. But this box is going to be 30,598 to 30,610. The Nasdaq, on the other hand, I would pay a little bit more attention to this box, right? 13,497 to 13,513 quarter is that area that has the split distributions. And you can see that lines up with basically the bottom of that box lines up with value area high. So looking at value, above yesterday's high, right in the center of value, flirting with value area high and trying to and getting sucked back into value and above yesterday's or above the value area for the Dow. So that's where I'm going to leave it. That's what I'm watching. I'll be watching and paying attention to the overnight value areas that I'll be sending out to the equity profile members and the members of Jack's Trading Room this week. So while he's doing his mentoring and his mastermind workshop, I'll be covering for him this week and giving some traders some profile education. So as we look at this, we really haven't won anything since, basically for a while. Most of our efforts have been focused in a tight range, right? So that could continue today, right? Until we break out of that range, there's nothing saying that we're getting out of it. You got to let the market tell you it's leaving, right? It could leave to the downside, it could leave to the upside, it could just sit there and dance around, test above and fail, test below and fail, and go right back up to it, just like it did yesterday. You guys have a great day, and I will talk to those of you not in the Discord tomorrow, and the rest of you, I'll see you around 9:40.